Hi, I'm Eric Lucero here at Pitbull Audio, where we have a clinic with Norm Stockton. How's it going, Norm?
Great. Thanks for having me, Eric.
No problem at all. And what are you here with today for your current rig for this clinic?
I am using a Gallien-Krueger 1001 RB, my favorite head, amazing amp, tons of headroom. And I'm using the CX210 and a CX115, which is a slightly different animal than what I'm used to using, but sounds fabulous.
Nice. Very, very cool. And, of course, you got your signature Michael Tobias Saratoga right here. Yes. A very, very beautiful instrument. Now, tell me about what went into the design of this signature bass right here with the wood choices, electronics. What makes it yours?
Well, it's kind of a J bass on steroids, and there is a separate YouTube clip where I'm interviewing Michael and Daniel Tobias about it, so you can go check that out and hear the clips. But the short version is that I was needing a bass that could do what my 535 used to do, as well as what a jazz bass would do. And so this bass, like I said, it's a J bass on steroids. It has titanium rods in the neck, and it has proprietary Bartolini electronics that allow you to go single coil or humbucker with each pickup. So you could switch back and forth. So the tonal variations are pretty staggering. And it could do the sort of the big rock thing, or the funk thing, or the rear pickup J kind of Jocko tone. It covers a lot of range. I love it.
Nice. So you're really looking to make a very versatile bass for stage, studio, anything you need. You didn't have to carry one or two or three basses to get a variety of tones all on one.
Precisely. And in those days, I used to be bringing two basses on the road with me if I was going to be doing the rock thing and the fusion thing. And now I have one instrument that covers a really broad range, so it's really awesome, yeah. Definitely, it's my hope that this would be an inspiring and educational thing for you to kind of take it to the next level. But yeah, practicing. Charlie Parker, arguably one of the most influential musicians of the 20th century. I think Charlie Parker emerged from the womb with this God-given thing to do what he did. But it's also well documented that there was about a 4-year period in Charlie Parker's life where he was woodshedding 11 to 15 hours a day. So, yeah, I think he had this talent, but talk about investing, right? Now, some of you, I think I just lost you because you're like, homie, if this is where this is going, I don't have 11 to 15 hours a day, you know? But do you have 15 minutes a day? 20 minutes is better, and half hour is better than that. But the point is, woodshedding, if music is a priority for you, and I'm assuming it is because you're here tonight, and so if music is a priority for you, I want to encourage you to invest in those talents, and I want to encourage you to, if you don't have a normal woodshed time built into your schedule, to consider building in a kind of a, hell or high water, no matter what. I'm in the woodshed every day from 8 to 8:15 or whatever. I have 15 minutes before I go to work, or immediately when I get home, or whatever. Most of the things we're trying to woodshed, we're trying to develop autopilot to where you're not having to spend time on the gig, and I'm using the word gig broadly for you church players, whatever your playing environment is. You don't want to be investing processing power on the gig thinking about, okay, now I need to make sure that my ring finger goes to the 8th fret. That's got to be on autopilot. Autopilot doesn't happen 4 hours every other Saturday. But it happens 15 minutes a day if you're woodshedding the right stuff consistently. Does that make sense? So, if you don't have woodshed time built into your schedule, let's do that.
You said that you have a little bit different setup today than you usually have. What is your usual touring setup?
Well, when I'm doing stuff in town with my own personal rig, I have a 1001 RB head with a Neo 212 and a Neo 115, and it sounds amazing. On the road, depending on the, what kind of a gig I'm doing, if it's a clinic or something, if it's a music store thing, many times I'm just using an MB115 with a little combo amp, and it sounds great, very portable. But I haven't used the CX cabs as much, just because they they haven't been in the venues that I've been using. But so it was a real treat to be able to check this out. And as soon as I plugged in, I was like, oh yeah, I remember, I love this stuff. So GK actually had me do demo videos of pretty much all of their gear several years ago. So if you go to their YouTube channel, there's demos of each of these cabs, and you can kind of check them out and put your earbuds in, or plug in your speaker so you can really hear what's going on. But this all sounds amazing. I'm a huge fan of the GK stuff.
So actually, with that, my question: you've been with them for quite a while. What keeps you with GK? What is it about Gallien-Krueger that has kept you with them?
Well, at this point, I'd have to change the website and all of my stationery. No, I'm just kidding. No, actually. It is a longer story, and I think I covered that in some YouTube clip about GK. But suffice to say that when I switched to GK originally, probably like 14 years ago, it was quite a process to land where I was unequivocally like, oh, this is the stuff. And it involved them flying me and my rig up to their warehouse, ironically, is in Stockton, California, their factory, actually. And they had me play my rig, and then we'd go back and forth between the GK and this rig that I used to use. And after about a half hour, it's like the GK rig was doing the tone of this $3,500 boutique rig that I used to use, probably better than it. But it also had a much more versatile palette. And so from that moment on, I've been just a diehard GK fan. And yeah, it's my favorite stuff, and it's a really complementary tone to the MTDs, and hence there's many MTD endorsers who are also GK endorsers, because the two of those go together real well.
But it's very cool that you've stuck with them, and that they've done great things for you. Before the show, we were testing it out. It sounded great. Just sounded fantastic. Very big, clear, clean sound. Any advice for bassists out there on what goes into picking a good head for their purposes?
Well, in general, I would say having headroom is awesome. Having it where it's not getting a crunchy, sort of overdriven clipping type of a sound, unless that's exactly what you're after. But even so, you're probably better off doing that kind of with effects and things like that. So in terms of overhead and just the ability to handle transients, I think the 1001 RB is unparalleled for that. It's relatively portable, which is amazing. You know, it's pretty light head, but you can lay into this thing and it'll take your head off if you turn it up very loud. And so, yeah, but I'd say just to find an amp that gets the tone that you're after, and ideally one that's versatile so that it can do a variety of different things. And that to me is another thing with the GK stuff, where whether I'm doing a rock thing or a funk thing or a fusion thing or something with my fretless or my old P bass with flat wound strings, it translates well on any of those instruments. So it's good stuff. If you were to distill this whole bass playing thing down to this one objective or one skill set, depending on how you look at it, I think it boils down to this. If you can be given the drum groove and the chord progression And you can immediately come up with 15 or 20 different bass lines, each of which would work with that drum groove and be appropriate depending upon the context. So is it a rock thing? Is it funk? Is it jazz? Is it reggae? Is it country? Whatever that is, if you have that vocabulary to be able to play that with decent time, feel, and phrasing, you have decent gear, which Pitbull can help you with. Transportation helps, cell phone, that helps. And probably just as important, but it's a whole other workshop, is that you're not a drag to hang out with. That's huge. You have to have your people skills together. But if those things are together, your phone will ring as a bass player. I have never been hired based upon my tapping or my artificial harmonics. And I would venture to say neither have any of you, right? That's not why we're there. That's for like the 15 minutes, the 5 minutes a night that everybody else walks off stage and it's like, yeah, do your thing, But for the most part, it's all about groove and ensemble playing. If what you love about music is counter melodies and licks, and eventually the singer's going to have to take a breath, so when they do, you kind of, you throw in your lick, If that's what you love about music, you're going to be happier as like a woodwind player. That's their role in the ensemble, right? Kind of filling in the holes between the vocal lines. Bass is about infrastructure. It's about the foundation of the tune, and there's different ways people refer to this, You can think of it as lending pitch to the drum kit, or you can think of it as being the glue between the rhythmic and the harmonic aspects of the band. But that's the bass's role fundamentally is that. Now, I'm not at all discounting the amazing things that you can do on the bass guitar. I think it's an amazing instrument for a variety of different melodic and harmonic things. But the rhythmic aspect is definitely job one.
Well, also noticed no effects. You never use them?
I used effects a lot on my first CD, and then I kind of stopped using them, mainly because when I was on the road, many times, or several times anyway, my effects kind of died on me at fairly inopportune moments. And so I was like, I don't need them, But my new project that's coming out, I'm actually, one of the reasons I'm sleep deprived is because I've been putting in crazy hours preparing for the first shoot of my Grooves and Sushi. See, I've even forgotten the name. Grooves and Sushi project. Next week, and on this project I'm going to be using effects a bunch, and it'll be getting pretty weird, kind of not the standard conventional effects, but some of the tones are going to be pretty kind of textural, so it should be fun. So I'm getting back into effects heavily, but I haven't been using them for quite a few years.
Well, very, very cool. I look forward to Grooves and Sushi, and thank you for coming down to Pitbull Audio and joining us for this clinic.
Thank you, Eric, and thanks to Pitbull Audio, and thanks to GK.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.